Hello everyone, and welcome back to our deep dive into the enigma that is Hollow Street. In our last episode, we touched upon some of the strange temporal anomalies reported by those who claim to have found it. But today, we're shifting our focus from personal accounts to something far more tangible, something you can hold in your hands. Maps. Official, documented city maps. And what we found is frankly chilling. Our investigation began in the city archives, a place filled with the dusty scent of history and forgotten secrets. We were looking for any official mention of Hollow Street, anything that could give us a concrete location. For weeks, we pored over brittle, yellowed maps from the late 1800s and early 1900s, and for a while it seemed like a dead end. Plenty of familiar street names, the city growing and changing, but no Hollow Street. We were about to give up chalking it up as pure folklore. But then, we found it. Tucked away in a municipal survey from 1928, there it was, in faint spidery ink, Hollow East T. It wasn't a prominent thoroughfare. It was a short, dead-end alley, barely a block long, wedged between a since-demolished textile factory and a row of tenement buildings in the old industrial quarter. It was unassuming, almost an afterthought on the cartographer's part. We found it again on a 1931 planning map and a 1934 transit proposal. In each one, it was the same. A short, insignificant street that simply stopped. It led nowhere. According to these official documents, Hollow Street existed for a brief period, a tiny footnote in the city's vast history. But this is where the story takes a sharp, inexplicable turn. By 1938, it was gone. Vanished. Maps from that year onward show the area completely redeveloped. The textile factory was replaced by a warehouse. The tenements were gone, and where Hollow Street should have been, there was now a solid block of concrete, a new building. The street had been erased, built over, as if it had never been there at all. This discovery presented a tidy, logical explanation. Hollow Street was a real place, but it was temporary, a casualty of urban development. Case closed, right? That's what we thought too. It would have been a rather boring end to our investigation. But we all know the legends don't speak of a simple dead-end alley. They speak of a place you can't escape from, a road that loops and twists and goes on forever. So where did that idea come from? The answer, we believe, lies not in the past, but in the present, in the digital age. We moved our research from the dusty archives to the glowing screens of our computers, examining modern digital maps. We started with the standard ones, the big names you use on your phone every day for navigation. We typed in Hollow Street, no results. We zoomed in on the historical location, tracing the old grid. Nothing. The area is now a mix of modern office buildings and a small park. No sign of the old alley. Again, it felt like we were hitting a wall. But then we dug deeper. We went beyond the surface-level consumer maps and into more specialized geospatial data. We looked at topographical surveys, utility line schematics, and even some obscure, open-source mapping projects maintained by hobbyists and urban explorers, and that's when we found it again. But it wasn't the Hollow Street from the 1930s. This was something else entirely. On several highly detailed, non-commercial digital maps, Hollow Street appears, but it doesn't appear on the surface. It's rendered as an underground structure, and it doesn't end. According to this data, it begins roughly where the old alley was, but instead of stopping, it dips beneath the surface, spiraling downwards in a perfect, repeating loop. It's marked not as a road for vehicles, but as a pedestrian access tunnel, yet it connects to nothing. It doesn't lead to a subway station, a sewer main, or any known utility corridor. It just loops, endlessly, beneath the city. We now had two completely contradictory official records. One, from the past, showing a short, dead-end street that was demolished nearly a century ago. The other, from the digital present, showing a subterranean, impossible loop in the exact same location. How can both be true? How can a street be both gone and still there? And not just there, but transformed into this geometric nightmare? Our first thought was a data glitch. A digital ghost created by an error in some old code. A phantom feature duplicated by a faulty algorithm. It's plausible. Programmers make mistakes and data can become corrupted. We reached out to a few data scientists and digital cartographers, showing them our findings. They agreed it was strange, but a simple glitch didn't fully explain it. The feature was too specific, too detailed. It had assigned properties like paved surface and unlit. Glitches are usually more random, more chaotic. This was precise. This leads us to a much more unsettling theory. What if the map isn't wrong? What if both maps are right, each in their own time? What if something happened in the late 1930s when they built over that alley? The legends of Hollow Street didn't start until the 1940s and 50s. Asterisk after asterisk, it was supposedly destroyed. Could the act of burying the street have been what changed it? What if by sealing it off from the world, they didn't destroy it, but contained it? Forced it to turn in on itself, to grow inward instead of outward, burrowing into the very fabric of reality underneath the city. Think about it. The old maps show a physical street that ends. The new maps show an underground path that doesn't. This perfectly mirrors the evolution of the legend itself. Early stories were just whispers of a strange alley. Later tales became about a place you couldn't leave, a road that looped back on itself. The folklore evolved in perfect lockstep with this cartographic contradiction. So, what are we looking at? Is it a century-spanning data error that coincidentally aligns with urban folklore? Or are these maps, old and new, charting the transformation of a physical place into a metaphysical one? A place that was once just a street, but is now an idea, a trap, an endless loop existing just beneath our feet. Invisible to most, but meticulously, terrifyingly charted by the silent, all-seeing eye of our digital world. The maps don't match, and the discrepancy between them might be the single most important clue we have. It suggests that Hollow Street isn't just a place you can find. It's a place that has changed, that has become something other than a street. It's a wound in the city's geography, paved over but still festering in the dark. This is a huge development, and we're going to be pulling on this thread in the weeks to come. What else is hiding in the city's data? What other ghosts are lurking in the machine? The maps are telling a story, and we're just beginning to learn how to read it. Thank you for joining us on this journey. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss our next episode, where we attempt to use this data to pinpoint the entrance. See you then.